First time. It's okay. I have notes on my hand. In case I forget anything. Like my reading glasses. So I'm Ben. And from the age of 10, I lived in Hull. I didn't anticipate that, but you're probably quite accurate. Now, Hull's actually a lovely place to live because of the people. They're authentic, warm, and genuinely shocked when you tell them that your parents chose to move there. But Hull gets a bad rap. People see battered old fishing trawlers and terrible architecture, and they don't realise that that's just what they see as tourists. It's actually much, much worse. I remember in 2003, this book came out. Top 50 crap towns in the UK. And Hull was number 1. Now I always remember this book. The description stuck in my head, the first line. Hull, it smells of death. And it goes on to say, yes, I know I don't have my glasses. This is called acting. The threat of violence hangs in the air. And, from another source, no matter where you live and what happens in your life or how bad things get, it can never, ever be as bad as living in Hull. And that was from the council's website. So, I was naturally relieved when I had to leave Hull and move to Barcelona for work. I left smells of death behind and arrived with smells of sangria and sun cream. Lovely. I moved in with my ex-girlfriend and we had a spare room. We were quite popular, which is quite funny because in Hull I had a 3-bedroom house and nobody came to visit at all. Now you know the drill when you're the guest in somebody's house. You usually leave something behind. You might leave wine, you might leave chocolates. I remember one Christmas, a very festive chocolate log was left in the toilet. But we had one guest and they brought out this massive gift when they were leaving. I thought that is a bit more like it. I opened it up and inside was a chinchilla. They bought us a chinchilla. No, it's not Mexican food. It's a small, cute, fluffy rodent. Imagine if a plushy toy had come to life, surprisingly. That's a chinchilla. But get this, they live for 15 years. That's the same life expectancy as a dog. If somebody came to stay with you for the weekend, and when they left, they bought you a dog, you think they were fucking mental. Or maybe not. I don't want to know your friends. But yeah, it's like saying, thanks for the weekend. Here's something that'll outlive your relationship. They weren't wrong about that. So now I live in the northeast. And when you move to a new area, you want to fit in. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll do the Great North Run. I'll do it. Like taking a really sweaty citizenship test. I remember the first time that I did it, I crossing the start line, high-fiving Ant and Dec as I went. I couldn't keep up with a guy wearing flip-flops. And I almost got overtaken by a bloke carrying a fridge. But I think he was struggling more than I've heard he normally does. It must be difficult carrying all of Ant's beer. It started off quite well, as I say. I hit the time bridge just as the red arrows were flying overhead. Wow! But nobody told me about what would happen next. 1 minute, I'm in Chariots of Fire, slow motion worthy running, and the next, I'm in 28 Days Later, except the zombies are wearing tracksuits and drinking Stella. Welcome to Felling! My God, I thought I was back in Hull. There were kids trying to trip me up, throwing water bottles at my head, and old Gadgies yelling abuse at me. But fair play, Raji did offer me a pint of snake bite. I thought, good Goodness me, it's barely noon. That is not the kind of refreshment break I was expecting. But it was like running an obstacle course sponsored by social services. But to be fair, I didn't mind. I was half cut by the time I got to KFC. That snake bite was pretty strong. I wonder if I stopped drinking. But these notes and they've rubbed off. But you know what? The people of Gateshead and Hull have a lot of similarities. They're both very warm, authentic, and genuine people, and they also lack a lot of teeth. But I would happily live in Gateshead, because the people are real. They've got no airs and graces at all. If they think you're a twat, they'll tell you so. And do you know what? If they like you, well, they'll also call you a twat, but with a pint of snake bites and affection. I now live near Prudhoe in Northumberland, and do you know what? Neither Gateshead nor Prudhoe are in this book. So I'm definitely moving up in the world. But one thing I've learned is whether it's Hull, Gateshead or Prudhoe, if someone calls you a twat and buys you a pint of snake bite, then you're home. But I can't stay because I've got to go feed my chinchilla.